Starting on August 17th, 2024, some major changes are coming to the real estate industry that will have a broad range of ripple effects, and one of those will be affecting real estate photography and real estate media, but it's actually good news if you prepare now for what's coming. If you might recall, I did a video a few months ago earlier in the year, and I've got a link to that, by the way, down in the description of this video. And in there I talked about that lawsuit that came about that buyers agents weren't properly representing how much commission they would be getting. Big thing you might have also heard in the news, National Association of Realtors settle out of court, making some big concessions. Now, one of those things will be that they can no longer, as a seller, put in the multiple listing service where they're listing houses, how much compensation a buyer represented agent could be getting out of that sale. In fact, what they're going to have to do going forward is any agent who represents a buyer is going to have a disclosure that they'll have that particular potential buyer sign. It can be exclusive, it can be non-exclusive, it can get complicated because it can have a term of a few months and how much that buyer may have to pay that buyer represented agent because they might not be getting any commission at all from the seller's agent, from the seller. So knowing this is going on, a lot of real estate agents may just give up, and it's inevitable that there will be some winnowing out of these agents in the United States, and that will then set a trend that could follow worldwide. What happens in real estate photography is we don't really care about the buyer's agents so much. We care about listing agents. They're guaranteed to get the commission. They're guaranteed to get the job. But what happens is that as we have this winnowing out process of buyer representative agents just not being able to get listings, all agents will then try to vie to get listings. And what that means is those agents have to compete against each other to get listings. And they're going to do that in two ways. That's inevitable. And that's one, show your experience, and two, show that you know how to market a property. And the key to that is the media. In other words, good photography, good videography, all of that. So if you're not up on your game right now as a real estate photographer, then you might not stand out enough to those agents that are now going to start vying for the listings and are going to be seeking out high quality photography and high quality media. And something that's misunderstood out of this, and I heard a lot of photographers just panic over this, thinking that, well, we're going to see this shrinking of a pool of real estate agents get smaller and smaller. And yeah, there are some estimates that maybe by 2025, about 50% of real estate agents in the United States may just get out of real estate and choose another career, but that isn't bad news. As you know, I've talked about in past videos, and it's something I cover also in my course on business and marketing for real estate photography, only 20% of realtors will make it past 2 years. And it's that 20% that you want to target. That's something I really stress in my business and marketing course. Because otherwise, you're just wasting your breath. You're wasting your time if you're doing email blasts to just every agent out there. You're going to inevitably get a lot of agents that have no experience. They're going to try to talk you down in price because they're not making enough money, and those are the ones that then get stereotyped. Those are the ones that give the bad rep for real estate agents. When I hear somebody say, real estate agents, they're all cheap, they just want stuff fast and whatever, a lot of times that's that 80%, the 80% that won't make it then past 2 years. So when we talk about a shrinking pool of real estate agents, well, that's just actually a kind of a cleansing process where a lot of these agents that you might think of marketing, well, they'll be gone because they weren't quality clients to begin with. You might get one job out of them before they end their career. What you want is repeat business. You want to have clients that get listings, clients that will get listings and listings and listings for many years to sustain your income as a real estate media provider. And of course, that boils down to being really good. You need to stand out. So if you're not good yet, if you are questioning your work, then you got to work to up your game. This is also going to have an effect, by the way, on companies like Zillow. Zillow, yeah, they've always tried to dominate the market and try to have their own photographers and do whatnot. But the thing is, they require their premier agents to pay a certain amount of money that if those premier agents, though, aren't being able to represent buyers, well, they are going to start hurting as well. So it'll be interesting to see how this then plays out for Zillow. But when we take a look at just the broader view of the photo mills, those are the ones that really do have to be worried because, as you probably know, a lot of the photo mills provide average work. That's okay. But if you're an agent who hasn't really been getting listings and representing buyers becomes so much more difficult, then you may try to also get more listings. And to get more listings, you're going to want to try to compete against the other agents in your area, which means you got to have really, really good media. You got to hire a really, really good photographer, videographer, etc. Because what's going to happen, these agents that are representing buyers, the buyers will have to sign various agreements that they may even have to pay that buyer representative agent. So instead of just being able to show on the MLS that for me as a seller, I'm selling my home and I'm willing to offer a split commission for the buyer's agent, they can't publicize that information anymore. And buyers and sellers are going to become very much aware of this. And so sellers will say, well, I'm not going to pay for the buyer's agent. There's no need for me to do that. I can pay you the half commission. I can save myself a lot of money. And then the buyer's just going to have to figure that out on their own. Now, I'm sure there'll be a lot of agreements that will come out and the sellers will then give some toward it, but it will be so painful for agents to represent buyers. So it's going to be a very strong listing predominant market going forward, which, as real estate photographers, the listing market is the one that we want to go for. Now, the buyer's agents, they might get some listings. That always happens, but it's really the listing agents. So what do you do? One, as said before, you get really good on what you're doing, up your game, make sure that you are the best in your area doing what you're doing, but also think about diversification. If you have my course on business and marketing for real estate photography, you know there's subgenres. Yeah, we have our standard listing market, which this is affecting. There is the luxury market, which does fall under MLS most of the time, sometimes out of that. But there's other markets as well. Two of the big ones that always stand out, A and D, the architectural and design market, working with interior designers, builders, that type of thing, and then also commercial real estate. And those are well insulated from this because architectural and design clients, they don't have anything to do with the multiple listing service or National Association of Realtors. And commercial real estate really falls outside. They're in their own little realm, so they really don't have an issue with this so much as well. Also be aware that none of this is going to all of a sudden have an effect that'll be visible overnight. These things usually take a long time. There's not going to be all of a sudden the day after this takes effect that all of a sudden all these realtors then drop out. There'll be this shrinking pool of realtors where the ones that never could get listings just eventually go away. It's going to take many months because guaranteed they're not just going to want to give up. Those agents that have been trying to get buyers, they really can't get listings. They'll probably try even harder to get listings. That means all the more there's this competition among the realtors to get the best media providers out there. So be prepared, get really good right now, keep an eye on the market, and we'll see how this goes over the next few months, and I will keep you posted.